viewers. You're listening to Jimmy Deal on Celebrity Spotlight.
Welcome to Celebrity Spotlight. Tonight, actress Louise Sorel is with me, and I'm so happy to talk to Louise. Louise, how are you?
Well, I'm awake. I had an exciting morning. I heard a rehearsal of the Mozart Requiem at the Geffen this morning at 9:30 in the morning. That was pretty thrilling. Yeah.
So you've had a busy day so far.
Well, it woke me up. Yeah, it was thrilling.
So now I know you've been busy. You're writing, right? You've been working on a lot of stuff. Can you fill us in a little bit about that, or what you've been working on and what you've been writing?
Well, I've actually been writing for many years and just putting it in a drawer or an envelope somewhere. And everybody's been yelling at me. Well, a few people anyway. So why aren't you doing something with this? And I find lots of excuses, as I think a lot of people do. I have to walk the dog. I have to, And so I also decided to have the nerve to pull it all out, and I'm just overwhelmed with the volume of stuff. It goes way back to periods when I was traveling in Europe, and I actually pulled out one that I wrote to my father because a friend was here, and it's Father's Day coming up. Right. And I read it to her, and she said, "This has got to go to the New York Times." So I was flattered because she has done a lot of editing. And it's, I have a lot of stuff that I actually read by myself and think, wow, who wrote this? This is really good. So then I sort of put it down and walk away and try to avoid dealing with it. But I think I have to do this now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've been one of daytime's most popular figures for over like 6 decades, an amazing career.
Whoa.
A long time, Louise.
No. I didn't do a soap opera until into 92.
So 92. Okay, so you.
That's when I did a soap. I'd never seen one before. I was doing a lot of other stuff and theater or whatever. And this role came up, and people with Santa Barbara. Mm-hmm. The most magical thing, although there were wonderful actors on it, and it was a very witty, totally different than any other soap. Right. I'd never seen soaps, but now I see them, and we had something very special, I thought, and we had Dame Judith Anderson, right, and a few other people in the theater. Nikki Coster and I were working together, and it was like doing theater because we used to rehearse at lunch hour and create our own scenes, and then they'd shoot it. Well, that is not the way it goes. I found out later on, right? But we were very lucky, and it was very creative for us. I left and went to New York, and then I went to Europe, and then they brought me back on Santa Barbara. So it was, here and there. But it was a very good experience, and it was different than other, say, soaps that I've been on in terms of the work process.
Now, of course, you were born in Los Angeles, right? You studied in New York at the Neighborhood Playhouse, right? Tell us about that. And that was back in around 1961 when you did that?
Yes. Yeah, I auditioned in Los Angeles with a mime because I was actually a professional mime at the age of 19 with a mime face and all of that. So I did a mime to go to acting school in New York. Right. And they gave me a scholarship. But I didn't speak. I was a mime. Anyway. So it was a James Thurber piece, and I guess it went well. So then I ended up at the Playhouse, and I had some very dear friends there. One that I lost that broke my heart was Jessica Walter.
Oh, okay.
We were inseparable friends, and anyway, that was much later. But I was there with Jess and Brenda Vaccaro, Dabney Coleman, who shockingly just died, although he was much older than I realized. But Dabney was there. We had a really interesting, and this wonderful man, Leonard Fry, who was in the original Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, really? Wow.
Wonderful talent. And they did The Boys in the Band, the movie of it.
Right.
We had some very, very talented people. And we've lost a few of them. But anyway, it was a great way for me to come into New York. And
now, your parents were sort of in the business too, right? Is that they worked in the entertainment business as well, right?
My father was a film producer, Hollywood producer. Right. Yes, and my mother was actually called the New Garbo.
Really? Okay.
Yes, but she was ravishing, and also a painter and a pianist.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
how do you keep up with that?
Right.
But she was sometimes with that situation with a mother that has that kind of quality and talent, it can be really devastating for you.
Right.
Trying to keep up with that. But she actually gave me a lot.
Right.
She took me to concerts when I was 3 and 4 years old, and when I was doing some acting things in high school, I said, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. And she said, yes, you can. And she would work with me. So, she brought me forth into that world with a lot of confidence.
Right.
So that was very lucky.
So they were pretty much your influence on wanting to get into the business, right?
Well, my father certainly didn't want me in the business.
Really?
That's obvious. Well, of course. What father wants their daughter to go into the business when they know what can happen to you?
Right. Now he produced back in the 40s and 50s, though, right? Didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he did.
Now, was the business much different back then as it is today? Today, I'm sure it's a lot different. Yeah.
Oh yes, I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I was a child. I don't know what was going on at the studios. I would go and have lunch or something.
Right.
But I wasn't. It was a separate world for me. I never connected with that. He was very quiet. I didn't really. I sort of knew what he did. I knew he was called a producer.
Right.
And I knew he made movies, but it was so foreign. It wasn't anything I connected with.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us about your Broadway debut, which was with Art Carney. Wow. Take Her, She's Mine.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What was Art Carney like to work with?
Well, I'll tell you in a minute, but the most gorgeous thing about that, I was very lucky. My father sent me to Cy Feuer, who's a very, very powerful producer on Broadway.
Right.
Because he gave up and thought, well, I've got to do something.
Right.
So he said, I'll just send you to this man. And this man said to me, you don't want to be in this business. It's terrible. I said, what? He said, all right, if you're okay, I'll send you to someone.
Right.
So he sent me to a woman named Phyllis Rabb at the William Morris Agency, which was the agency at the time.
Right.
And I didn't know anything. I had hair down to my waist, and I was like, in sandals. And anyway, I walked into her office, and she said, well, she had a very funny New York accent, really kind of high-pitched. I don't know what you can do, but I could send you up to something, kind of like that.
Right.
And I said, I've never heard a voice like that.
Uh-huh.
It was amazing. And so she did send me up for a play called Take Her, She's Mine.
Right.
I was 21, and I went in to read for George Abbott.
Right.
And at the Broadway Theater, and I watched actors being led around by the stage manager. I didn't know anything, but I saw people following the stage manager. I thought that I got to do something else. So I thought I'm going to make them follow me around. So I went up and read. Halfway through, he stopped me and said, "Thank you," from the darkness of the theater.
Uh-huh.
I just couldn't see anybody. I didn't know where anybody was, and I left. And I thought, well, I didn't think much about it. It just was like, oh well, sometime something will happen. I went home, and I had no money. I was living with a crazy Italian on the West Side, and we had no phone. We didn't have money for a phone. We had 10 cents to make a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
And I put my dime in, and I called my actor's answering machine. And they said, oh, call this number, a Miss Rabb. This was after I was called back to the second time I'd been called back.
Right.
And same thing happened. Thank you. That was it.
Oh, wow.
So this time I get this message, call Miss Rabb. I called her and she said, in her voice, are you sitting down? I said, no, I'm in a phone booth. It was summer, hot summer. She said, you got the part. I slid down the wall, the glass of the phone booth to the ground.
I could imagine.
Yeah. And then I started calling everybody I could think of collect. And that was how I got my first Broadway show. And it was, what a gift that was.
Yeah.
And on all levels.
I'm sure.
Things came out of that I would never imagine. It was Hal Prince's first show by himself because Rob Robert Griffith had died. I didn't know who any of these people were.
Right.
I didn't even know who George Abbott was.
Really?
No, I knew nothing. I was at Neighborhood Playhouse, doing whatever they told me to do.
Uh-huh.
And that was the beginning. And while I was in that play, you didn't even ask me this, but what happened was the run was like, it was a good 10 months or something.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through it, I was sent out by Phyllis to meet Guy Hamilton, who was a British director,
right,
about a film in England. And I thought, well, just so I went up to a hotel and I met him, and I thought, I have to read. You always have to read. He talked to me for a bit. He said, right, nice meeting you. Goodbye, whatever.
Right.
They came to the show. I mean, these elegant Brits came to the show, and halfway through the stage manager said, Louise Sorel, come downstairs. And they were all there, 4 of them, shaking hands with me and saying, see you over there.
Uh-huh. Oh,
my God.
I can imagine.
So that's how it started with Take Her, She's Mine, and Art Carney, who you could not love this man.
Yeah.
But he was an alcoholic. I don't think it's a secret.
Really?
And, well, it is for you, I guess.
It is for me.
It was pretty well known.
Really? Well, now, this was after the Honeymooners, of course, right? Because
Yes. And he was a very insecure man,
mm-hmm.
Very modest. We used to walk down the street, people would yell, hey, Art! They'd yell at him.
Really?
But he was, let's just put it this way, he didn't show up for some matinees.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And, but, we loved him, just loved him.
Uh-huh.
What a gentle soul he was. His brother, I think, was a dentist. His family were in what they call the real profession.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and you also worked with Rita Moreno, right? And George C. Scott on some of those. I mean, you worked with some really, really famous actors and actresses.
Yeah. I didn't even know at the time I was lucky. I was just working, whoever I was working. And then I looked back and I said, oh, my God. Like with George, who I had a crush on, even though I was married to my husband.
Right.
I mean, I just had a crush on him. You couldn't not.
Right.
And Rita was lovely. She's, as you can still see, she is unbelievable. She's just something really extraordinary. And Charles Boyer. But I didn't, I kind of like, with Charles, people were intimidated,
mm-hmm.
I guess, And I used to go and say, Charles, where are we going for dinner? Nobody would speak to him. They were too terrified to speak to him.
Right.
So we had a very nice friendship, really. He just, of course he liked nice young women, but it wasn't that at all.
Right.
It was just that nobody would speak to him. They were afraid. And I just made him feel comfortable, I guess. He did something quite beautiful. We were on stage the night of the Kennedy assassination.
Uh-huh.
And we couldn't bring the show down that night because it was too late that we had to play it. Right. Of all nights.
Yeah.
And I was shaking on stage, sitting on a couch with him, and he held my hand so tight, because I could barely breathe.
Oh,
we were all just a mess.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
Crazy time in history.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Now,
you also went on to, from this stage, you went to work in television. Tell us about that transition. Was that hard for you? Was that, of course, it was different for you. Tell us about the transition from working on Broadway to television.
Well, I was still on Broadway doing the sign in Sidney Brewston's Window. Mm-hmm. And then I got married to this wonderful man who everybody knows, who's, Stan on the Golden Girls.
Yes.
And the night I got a role, that I guess the William Morris office got this role for me on the coast. Mm-hmm. On it was Dr. Kildare.
Right.
And I'd never done anything out there. So the night we were married in Hell's Kitchen, in this wonderful building we lived in, Herbie then took me to the airport and put me on the plane to Los Angeles on our wedding night.
Right.
So I arrived at MGM, I think it was. I think that's where it was, Dr. Kildare. And in the role, I think I remember I get pregnant in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never been pregnant. I mean, I didn't know anything.
Right.
So I had to give birth. And this woman came up to me afterwards and said, "How many children do you have?" I was 21. How many children could I? But she thought I'd had children because of what I somehow figured out to do in the process.
Right.
So that was my first entree. I did actually, going back, I did a Route 66 with Bill Shatner.
Right. That was the first time you worked with Bill.
That was fun. I mean, we laughed. He makes me laugh. He just had that look like he was going to burst into hysterical any minute. We got on really well, and it was a nice show. It was well written.
Now, did you play his wife in that episode?
Yes.
You did.
Yeah,
okay.
he was Manem Shah. I've never forgotten his name. It was an East Coast storyline, and I don't remember much about it now. I have pictures somewhere, but we were fine. We had a nice time, and I was really new because I had done no television except I think I walked on in The Doctors or something live in New York. But that was the first thing that I think I went out and did, or went and did television.
Oh wow!
And I guess I was just, I don't know. It didn't faze me really. I guess I was comfortable in my own skin. I think maybe I wasn't, but I like to think I was. And I just did the work. I was very serious with my work.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was, I'm an actress now and I'm going to work with all these favorites. It was like work, that I'm going to work.
Yeah.
So I never had that feeling of flash and dash, and I'm not big on big publicity. You know, I don't run to publicity and things, which probably is stupid, but I don't know why. I'm just not, I don't know. It's nice when people, say nice things to you and whatever, but it's the work.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're recognized a lot on the street now because you live here in New York. You're not.
I don't know. I mean, no, but I was a hat on and a dog, glasses once in a while, but not that often.
Okay, but I'm sure you get a lot of fan mail, especially from the Star Trek Trekkies out there. I'm sure.
Oh my God! Yeah, from all over the world.
I'm sure. That classic episode of Star Trek. Tell us about that. Tell us about filming that. Of course, it was done at Desilu at that time, right?
If you say so. I don't remember. It might have been.
Okay.
I thought it was at Paramount.
Okay.
Don't listen to me. I don't know where I was.
All right. Well, Desilu became Paramount, so it all the same place.
Pardon me?
Desilu became Paramount, right? So it was all the same.
Oh, so
same facility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, as I said, when I first read for it, I just thought it was Star Trek. I kind of made that joke. Nobody thought that was funny.
Right.
But we didn't know it was the first season, I think. And we didn't know really what Gene Roddenberry, he had a secret, really, because he was very smart.
Uh-huh.
And look what he did. I mean, he really knew what he was doing. But we just, as I said, James Bailey was in a leotard, and I was in this, dress that you'd wear to a costume party or whatever.
Right.
And then I said, I'd love to be a blonde, just for fun. And they said, okay. They gave me a wonderful blonde wig.
Right.
And I just remember Bill, and he had a Doberman at the time, and I'm a dog lover.
Uh-huh.
So he had his Doberman always in the trailer. We used to go in and talk to the dog.
Oh, really?
And we were so easy with each other.
Uh-huh.
I ended up actually doing I ride horses. Anyway, he was a big horseman.
Right.
So I rode with him a couple of times in some events. But the Star Trek was, I just did it, this character.
Right.
And I don't, as I said, I just go to work.
Right.
And I just look around and think, for this bit, I just thought, where am I? What is this?
Okay.
This strange set with all these odd things. But I was a character, and I had a name, and I'll tell you a funny one. There was my last scene, I die, I wither, or whatever it is, I collapse.
Right.
And in the last scene, and my line was, excuse me, I think James and Bill are having a sword fight or something, like, it looked like a gay ballet, but anyway, it was a sword fight.
Right.
And I come out and I go, I choose So I'm trying to choose between them.
Right.
And I collapse and die. So my friend, my wonderful actress, director, producer friend of mine, took that footage and redid it with two friends of mine who just vocally played the two guys fighting.
Right.
In a kind of gay, put in sort of gay sounds in it. And then I came out. She took the scene, and as I came out, instead of saying what I was saying, I said to her voice, we need Jews, lots of Jews. And I died.
That's great.
It was brilliant. Brilliant.
Wow.
And she showed that at a big party she gave me for like 150 people, and they were on the floor. It was wonderful. I'll never get over it.
Amazing.
I still use the line, we need Jews. Well, I don't say it around here because I'll get shot, but anyway.
So
that was Star Trek was great fun to do. It really was.
I had a question from a listener. I wanted to know, what was it like to work on that set? I mean, because you hear there was a lot of times that you hear that they didn't get along. Of course, Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner were good friends. And what about like DeForest Kelley? Was there any jealousy or anything that went on the set?
You know what? All I did was my part, and most of it was with James and Bill.
Right.
I can't even talk to that. You know, people say things. I can't speak to that because I never saw it.
Right.
It wasn't in front of me. It wasn't anywhere around me.
Mm-hmm.
It was me and James and Bill.
Right.
So I don't know. You know, those rumors always go around, and maybe they're true. I don't know.
Did you ever do any of the Star Trek conventions or anything like that?
Yes, I did.
You did?
I did about 5 or 6 because Barbara Luna, who was on
Sure, I know Barbara. Yeah.
Okay, well, she was sort of she's like a leader,
right? And
she collects people together to go on these conventions,
right?
And I'd never done. It was fun. I mean, it's nice to make some money,
right?
And it's overwhelming because you have to sign so many autographs, and a lot of people come dressed in the in the costumes.
Right.
Unbelievable. We went to I was in Montreal, New Jersey, Italy. Oh gosh, where else were we? Somewhere outside of I don't know. I did about 5 of them.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. It's just getting away from everything, and people are very nice.
Yeah, Bill Shatner is still going. He's somewhere like every week, every month.
I'm sure. I mean, how did he ever know that this would do that for him?
Amazing, right? So. I mean, what an amazing career.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's like he's God.
It is.
It's like he's not even Bill Shatner. He's a whole other captain.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever occurred to anybody that this would happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think they probably would have filmed a lot more of them if they knew this would have happened, but it was only 3 seasons, and it's amazing what 3 seasons did.
Yes. And, he's a very good actor.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what happened, that show just, took over his life.
Yes.
And I think he did something else that I was on out there. I don't remember, but it took over his life. And I just hope he's okay because I don't know. I haven't seen him in so long. I'm sure he's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you had some intimate scenes with him too, right? A lot of kissing scenes in Star Trek, but
it's sort of you should take it seriously.
Right.
You do it at the moment, but you're just doing what they want you to do, and hopefully you like or you're attracted to the person you have to do that with.
Right.
Otherwise, it's not much fun.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you guys look like you guys got along really great on you guys look like you had that chemistry going on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, another great guy you worked with was Don Rickles. Tell us about Don Rickles.
I adored this man. I could not believe they cast me. When we tested, I had to test, and everyone, all of them, the network said, "What are you, crazy? She can't play his wife. She looks like his daughter."
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know what? They fought for me. They just said, she's doing it, period. There was no discussion.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe I got this. It was just so antithetical to anything I ever thought I would do. He was just adorable. He was the sweetest man.
Mm-hmm.
And he had loved his wife so much. He was a real family man. And I think the secret was that he really didn't want to leave home. But to make the money and, to to do what he was doing,
Right.
he had to go to Las Vegas and all of that stuff.
Right.
And he loved entertaining, but I think he was really a homebody in a way.
Yeah.
And he, oh my God, he did an event to raise money for a school. We did it at downtown Los Angeles in one of the big theaters there.
Right.
And he asked me if I wanted to do it. And I said, well, what am I going to do? He said, I don't know. What are you going to do? So I said, okay. He had Carol O'Connor. He had every big comedian on that stage. And then once they finished, it's midnight. And these people haven't been let out of the theater. And now I go on. Thank you very much.
Wow.
So I had decided to read a poem called Babiar, which was about dead Jews. Please, I can't believe I did. I went over to Barbara to Rickles and I read it for her, and she was so moved by it. And she didn't say anything about anything, except she thought it was really lovely.
Okay.
Now I get up on the stage at the Amundsen Theater and I read about dead Jews at midnight.
Oh, no.
Following Carol O'Connor and Don Rickles. And, oh, God.
Wow.
I don't know what I was thinking. I swear to God. Anyway, that's what I did. And that was Don doing something for a school.
Mm-hmm.
He was just if he hurt anybody, he would be horrified, even though his stuff was obviously insulting humor.
Right, it was, but he had a big heart. He had a very big heart.
Oh yes, he did.
Yeah,
he did.
You know, I met him several times. And
did you?
Yeah. I mean, I've been backstage with him at Westbury when he did Westbury Music Fair here, and quite a few times. And he just so different than he, of course, the act on stage. So two different people for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the soap operas you did, I mean, daytime television, Santa Barbara, of course, you mentioned One Life to Live, Days of Our Lives. Tell us about that. Tell us about doing those episodes and working in daytime television.
Well, I never thought I would. I'd never seen a soap.
Mm-hmm.
When I went up and read for them for Santa Barbara,
right.
I just read once and I left. I didn't, and they were calling people back or whatever. Anyway, they hired me.
Right.
And so I thought, well, this is not bad at all because I was working with really good actors.
Right.
And they were writing very witty, real stuff, the Dobsons. And so the first soap I did was Santa Barbara.
Right.
And I said I left it after 2 years because somebody wanted me in New York for One Life to Live, which
right.
was what it was. And then I went to France for a while, and I thought, I'll probably never work again.
You studied French there, right? Didn't you study in France as well? You studied French?
Yes,
yeah.
I did.
Wow.
I did. So I came back to Santa Barbara, and without going into detail, they wrote me out this complicated personal stuff and tried to make me into an alcoholic on the show.
Oh, wow.
So I told all the prop guys, because they liked me, and I said, do not put alcohol. I don't care what it says on the props. Do not put any vodka, alcohol, glasses, anything that would suggest that I drink.
Right.
So it was only my way of fighting back. I was so insulted.
Oh, okay.
And then I left the show. And then very briefly after that, I went to Days. And again, I read, and then they said they were testing people. I said, oh, good, nice to meet you.
Right.
And they hired me. And it turned out to be a really wonderful role for me.
Right.
I mean, my God, the things I did.
Yeah, I mean, a very popular character for sure. I mean, for years,
I guess it was, I just did I did the work, and I wasn't aware of anything because I just go to work and go home.
Right.
Afterwards, I realized what the impact was. But it was, I enjoyed it. I had some nice people to work with, and I did such really hysterically outrageous things that I think had never been done, maybe on a soap.
Right.
As far as I know.
You were like the villainess, right?
I was a villainess, but I made her funny.
Right.
Which I think is the key. You can't play evil.
Right.
I mean, look at Donald Trump. Yeah. He thinks he's a good person.
Right.
Anyway, we'll go with that. But that's what you do. You play like, and never mind that. But, you don't play evil. You just have fun.
Mm.
And that, I think, is what helps me get through that, because if I just played it like I was twirling my mustache or something, it would just be one note.
Right.
But I just had, and this wonderful writer gave me such great, I was a box of French fries. I was a French woman. I was a little Bo Peep, oversized, slightly oversized.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they were just crazy things with a wonderful man named Yvonne, whose name was Yvonne on the show. He was my butler, I guess, or whatever.
Right.
And he called me Madame. And it just worked. It just worked.
Uh-huh.
And I really had a good time. It was much faster than I was used to, because on Santa Barbara we had a lot of time. And
right.
And I'll find out all the other shows, they're working so hard
Mm-hmm.
and so fast. It's just get it done. And it's hurtful sometimes because you feel rushed,
Yeah.
but they have to get it done.
Why do you think soap operas sort of fizzled out? It's not like it was today as it was years ago. Of course, they were so popular years ago.
I'm not sure what happened, other than the fact that I think a lot more talent shows came on daytime.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more power figures were suddenly on daytime.
Right.
And the soaps, I don't know what, so many of them died. There were 12, now there are only
yeah, there's very few right now. Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
4 left.
Yeah.
They just fizzled out. They were no longer, I have no answer for that, except that, as I said, these shows came in,
Right.
hour-long talk shows.
Yes.
Where they'd have big names. Maybe that was part of it.
Yeah. And also you earned 5 Soap Opera Digest awards from your role on Days of Our Lives, right? So that was a nice achievement for you.
It was. I was always sort of shocked.
Uh-huh.
You don't think about those things when you're working. You just go and do the work, and then, it was. I mean, very nice. From the fans, really, I guess. So it was nice.
We have a question also from Steve Tesh, and he wants to know if your ex-husband played Murray on the Odd Couple.
Yes,
he did.
He did.
Okay.
He was. This is the biggest loss in my life, really.
Uh-huh.
He was. Everybody adored this man, and you still see him. I watch him on Golden Girls on Sundays, hoping he's on.
He was so great on that show.
Oh, I go up and just rub his forehead on the television set because he was just a golden human.
Right.
Really priceless.
And you worked with him later on again, didn't you? On another show back, I believe it was in the later years.
With Herbie?
Yeah, with Herbie. Did you ever work with him again or no?
No.
You didn't. Okay. I read that somewhere.
I didn't. I worked with my second husband.
Yes.
Ken
Oh, okay. So it must have been Ken. Okay. So tell us about him as well. Tell us about Ken. You don't want to tell us about Ken. Okay, well, I got you.
I mean, he was very talented, very handsome.
Okay.
It was one of those romances that are sort of unreal.
Mm-hmm.
And we had quite the marriage with names I won't even.
I got you. Okay.
Overwhelming. At the wedding and blah, blah, the Dakota, my friend lives there.
Right.
And it was, we had a whirlwind,
mm.
and then things just sort of fizzled on the West Coast.
Mm.
I've never quite figured out what happened, but he was on the road to becoming. He wanted to be a big star.
Oh, okay.
I don't blame him for that,
Yeah.
But he wasn't. He wasn't Bob Redford. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And he did well. I mean, he was always good. He did a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something between us that was different emotional lives or something. I can't really figure it out.
Right.
And it didn't work. So yeah, it was, I guess it was 5 years or something like that.
Wow.
No, not even that. He was, we came back to New York and I was in the West Coast and went into a show called, I think, Pennsylvania 9000 or something. I don't know what it was called.
Right.
And he just came back to New York and that was the end.
Oh, wow.
Never came back.
Oh, wow. Okay. Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So, and so many other television shows too that I read that you were part of. Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Heart to Heart, Hawaii Five-0. I mean, some classic television shows you worked on. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many funny moments on those shows that I remember.
Hawaii Five-0, Jack Lord. Another
Jack
great,
Lord.
great.
He thought he was the Lord.
Yeah, did he really? I was going to ask you,
yeah.
what was he like?
Oh, yeah.
What was he like on
He
set?
was the king of Hawaii, as far as he was concerned. I don't know. He wasn't a bad guy, but it was very funny when I just got there, and then everybody stood in a circle.
Right.
I don't know what they were doing. It was like before shooting, they would do a prayer.
Really?
And I thought, what the hell? Anyway, so we did a prayer. And then he said something to me in Hawaiian. I had no idea what he was talking about.
Right.
And I said, what? You had to go ask somebody what he was saying to me. It was just odd. And then he showed me, he thought he was a painter.
Right.
He painted.
Uh-huh.
So he showed me his paintings. I mean, that's a funny line, you want to see my paintings?
Yeah. That's
but he didn't do anything. It wasn't that he was,
right,
doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Just struck me funny when he said, "You want to see my paintings?" Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, Jack, and then Tom in Magnum.
Yeah, how was Tom to work with?
Well, Tom, and I were at the same acting school, Milton Kutselis in Hollywood.
Right.
And we both had a pilot cell at the same time. Well, I guess it was Magnum. And I had something, forgot what it was, cell. So we were in New York, and I remember he carried me piggyback down Fifth Avenue, and we had a drink somewhere at a hotel.
Wow.
It was very funny, and it was pleasant. I didn't really know him very well.
Right.
And on Magnum, he was totally pleasant. I mean, he's a nice man.
Right, yeah.
Although he's with the NRA now, and I have some strong feelings about that.
Right.
I cannot believe it, but anyway. He's a perfectly nice person, and he's done very well, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, still going strong on Blue Bloods for sure, And I think this is the last season from what I've heard, so.
Is it?
Yeah. So, also Heart to Heart, Robert Wagner, Stephanie Powers. Tell us about that.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Stephanie and I looked a bit alike, which I realized when we were working. I think at one point they thought maybe it wasn't a good idea because we were similar, but anyway, I did it. And it couldn't have been nicer. I have a lovely picture with Robert.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Very sweet man.
Yeah.
Very nice man. And you can get it when you see him. He's a really nice man. And Stephanie was wonderful. These are really kind of the good people. They weren't full of themselves.
Right.
They were just working,
Yeah, no, I also read that you worked on Bonanza. Was that true? In 1965? Wow. Tell us about Bonanza. Lorne Greene, of course. Oh, my God.
Well,
tell us about that. Dan Blocker.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I remembered about that was that I had, Lauren liked to wear his shirt open.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Right.
So one time he pulled me because I was this creature they were after. I don't know what I was. I always played gypsies or something. And he pulled me up close to him, and the hair on his chest, which had been shaved, you know what that's like.
Right, yes.
Needles.
Needles.
My chest, my cheek went into this layer of needles.
Right.
I couldn't say anything because he was trying to be nice.
Right.
But anyway, and then they put me on a horse at one point. For some reason, my sister came. Normally, she didn't come. She came to the set that day. I was on a horse with a noose around my neck.
Oh, my God.
And my hands tied.
Oh, wow.
On a set, which may have been the most idiotic thing anyone could have done to an actress. I could have been strangled.
Oh, my God.
Because the horse could have shied.
Yeah.
And I would have been dead.
They did that in the studio, right? Most of those shots were done in the studio.
Yeah,
they did some shots, I think, in Lake Tahoe. I remember they had the Bonanza Ranch out there, but I don't know if they ever actually shot out there. But
I didn't, but no, I didn't shoot there. But that was rather unforgettable.
Yeah.
Moment.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Definitely sounds.
I had a few.
What about Charlie's Angels?
That was fun. Oh, that was funny.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're asking me these questions.
This is great. We love. You know what? I'm a big fan of these TV shows, and so I know a lot of my audience is. So I know they're enjoying this. So.
Well, there was. I'm going to forget everything, but everybody was nice. But there was a woman on the show named Shirley, and I cannot think of her last name now because I can't think of it now.
Right.
But she was a very large woman, and she had been in a movie with a very famous Italian actor, and I even can't remember the name of that. And I was sort of stunned by her when I saw her in that movie. She was a very famous, beautiful actor, and they had a scene together that was rather amazing.
Right.
And I never forgot her because of her size. I mean, I'm talking through 300.
Oh, wow.
250 to 300.
Okay.
Huge woman.
Right.
Surely. Now I look on the cast list, and she's on the show. And I had convinced myself she was a European, of course, because this is an Italian movie done by a very famous Italian director.
Right.
So I'm thinking, oh my God, she's coming on the show. I'm so excited, although her name was Shirley. I don't know why I thought she was Italian.
Mm-hmm.
But she comes on the show, and she was just huge. And I'm waiting to speak to her. I'm so overwhelmed by the fact that she's there. And she turns out she's from Brooklyn.
Really?
And she's opposite to everything I fantasized about. She was from Brooklyn. She didn't know where she was going. I drove her around because she couldn't get there from here.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, oh my God,
Wow.
this woman that I fantasized about, from this European background was not.
Right.
Surely, I'll have to look this up again. I can never remember her name.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was fine. They were all very nice.
Yeah.
They're hardworking. Those ladies. They were. Farrah wasn't there, I don't think, for that show.
Okay.
She was gone.
Oh, really? She was gone, but at that point, okay. Wow. What about Airplane 2? Of course, you did the movies as well.
Oh my God, Howard Koch. Well, Airplane 1 was a huge success.
Right. This was the sequel.
Hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
This was Airplane 2.
Right.
But he couldn't get those writers back.
Mm-hmm.
So I think either he wrote it or somebody helped him through it. And God knows, as I'm sure you've seen, it is no comparison to Airplane 1.
Yeah, right. It's a totally different movie.
Yeah. And then, of course, what happened is I had some funny scenes in the plane.
Right.
But the person that he had hired, he decided to fire. And, of course, it was the person I had the scenes with.
Right.
I don't even want to say, but I don't know why he fired. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up with just about nothing on that.
Wow.
It was just, very little to do.
Right.
Because the actor that he fired was the person I had the scenes with.
Right.
Oh, God.
And Where the Boys Are.
Oh, my God. Alan Carr.
Uh-huh.
Oh, my God. Lorna Luft.
Lisa Hartman was in that? Was Lisa Hartman in that?
No.
No, she wasn't. Okay.
No. Gosh. What the hell was it? Oh, we went to Florida.
Wow.
And it was so absolutely, you couldn't breathe. It was so hot when we were shooting it. And it was, I don't even know what I did in that. I couldn't believe the whole thing was just ridiculous.
Right.
I don't think it lasted a day in the theaters.
Wow.
It was, he tried to do something, and Alana Hamilton was in it.
Uh-huh.
And I think she was still with, what's his name? Rod Stewart.
Oh, was she? Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were married, they had children.
Oh, wow. Amazing. So what did you enjoy doing most, Louise? Did you enjoy doing the Broadway, the television, or the movies? What was your favorite part of the business?
Mostly theater.
Theater? Okay.
Mostly theater. Would have to be very special, I guess. And I'm sure I've missed a lot because of the way I am. I'm not a go-getter.
Right.
And I probably should have had a lot more work, even though I think I worked a lot. But some of the things I now look at myself and think I should have been, I think I was maybe not terribly well cared for in terms of agents at a certain point.
Right.
And I think I missed a lot of stuff. But saying that, I still was lucky because I see how hard it is now. And I was very lucky. I was blessed.
Yeah.
But I love the theater. And the last thing I did that we'll never forget is we did a production of I Remember Mama here.
Oh, okay.
And it was huge success.
Mm-hmm.
We did it with 10 women.
Right.
Playing men, women, and children.
Yeah.
And we thought it was insane. But it was Barbara Barry was playing the lead. And we just thought our director, Jack, who is with the Transport Group here, a very good group of actors, and we just thought he was crazy. 10 women playing this. It's all about men and women.
Right.
It's a gorgeous movie. So we did that, and it got rave reviews off Broadway. Should have moved, but didn't for various financial reasons move.
Right.
And I will never, as long as I live, that was a gift from the God.
Yeah.
I just can't tell you. I'd get on the subway and go down to 4th Street to where we were doing the play.
Right.
And go back on the train every night. And I was like, I could have done that forever.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, certain parts of your career you just enjoy, and you just want it to never stop, right? I mean, that's just, it goes on.
Well, when it's good.
Yes,
when
absolutely.
it's the quality of that.
Yep.
And do you know Heather McRae?
I don't know.
Well, Heather was in it. Barbara Barry, a lot of real theater people, theater rats.
Oh, okay.
All of them. Barbara Andres. These are the, hardcore theater actors.
Right.
And just, what a joy. Oh, my God. I mean, we were just in love with each other. It was it wasn't a moment of, animosity or anything other than helping the other person.
Yeah. Of course, you did so much Broadway and you did television. What are some of your favorite Broadway plays today, and what are some of your favorite television shows that you sit back and watch today?
Well, you would laugh. I mean, some of it is ridiculous. Television, I mean, there's so much. You can try to stop naming things. The Brits, for me, really do it. But my favorite show, which saves me every night of my life, is Seinfeld.
Really? Okay. Wow.
I'm a Seinfeld addict.
Wow.
I would have killed to have been on that show.
The show about nothing.
Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld, just genius. And Michael Richards, who unfortunately lost his career. Genius. They were just, and she was, I would hug her to death if I met her.
Oh, wow.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Absolute heaven.
Yeah.
Heaven. And the writing and the observations, to me, it's my savior every night at 11 o'clock when the news comes on.
Right. Wow.
Seinfeld. But I also, of course, watched a lot of other stuff. I think, in terms of American television, I think Dick Wolf has been one of the best producers.
Right.
He's got six shows on television.
Oh, wow.
6. And, all the Law and Orders.
Right, yes.
And the Chicago, he has never sold out in terms of what he's trying to do, he's ripping things from the headlines, telling stories, wonderful actors, and never sells out. Always, it's a Dick Wolf show, and you can tell by the work. So I have great admiration for him. I wish I did one Law and Order, but I just think it's wonderful. And there's all the BBC stuff. Right. I don't watch. I'm not a television watcher as much as I thought I was. I just distract. I start reading. I read a lot. Right. But I do. I mean, I'm a Judge Judy advocate. Really? She kills me. She kills me. She's. Oh my God, what she does! I'm surprised she hasn't been shot. The mouth that she's got, but she's just knocks me out. She's fearless. Right. But that's silly television. That's not serious stuff. Right. I don't really watch a lot of series. If I'm home, I'll watch one of the Dick Wolf shows. Yeah. But I'm not really and there's so much good stuff. I mean, now with Hulu and all of them, you get everything. Yeah, Netflix. And that's great. Except it's killing the movies. Yeah, yeah. I watch a lot of the classic TV shows, of course, the Me TVs and all that. Of course, Star Trek, and of course, Monday night. I was telling you before, Monday night, your classic episode of Star Trek was on. I was watching you. So. My God, I didn't know. I mean, I sort of am in and out and don't pay much attention. Then I sit down and think, I need to just watch something and not do anything. Right. So I'll find something. But I don't have a whole list of things that people except Seinfeld. Right, right. It's like medication at 11 o'clock at night. I don't, I just think the whole world is okay because they're on.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's great to
I
love a show.
sometimes think about Jerry and Seinfeld, and I think, how is he living through what we're living through, which I find agonizing.
Yeah.
If he's okay, I guess I'll be okay. Because what is going on in this world now is so horrifying to me.
It is.
That I can't believe where we are. I didn't grow up with any of this.
I know.
So I was born during World War II,
right?
But I didn't experience it. And of course, I know people who did. Horrifying. But now I think we could experience it.
Yeah.
I think we're in so much trouble.
We were talking about the inflation earlier, of course, of Broadway shows and concerts, and how, like, the past year or 2 years, it's just gone. All the prices have gone through the roof.
God, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm sure maybe there's a good reason. We're all looking for the TDF tickets and whatever, and then have the Actors Fund.
Right.
They don't really give you a deal; they just give you house seats.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing. $300-400 a seat now. That was unheard of back in the day. Wow.
No. So. I did pay. I think Hamilton.
Uh-huh.
I think I paid $250 for that.
Oh wow!
But you know what? That was golden. That was worth every second.
Right.
Jeez, what a brilliant man he is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Any advice to any actors and actresses starting out today?
I hesitate with that because everybody's got a certain personal need or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never been able, I only know what I did, which was, I was very serious.
Right.
And the work was everything. And I think it's so much harder nowadays.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to, I was lucky, and I was talented.
Right.
But even if you're talented, nowadays people can't even get agents.
Yeah.
It's so difficult, and I don't even know what to tell anyone. I say, be serious about your work. I worked with, went to classes.
Right.
Some people just are instinctively talented and don't need a teacher or anybody.
Right.
They just don't. They just have it. And then they have to not give up, but also be respectful of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And not. I don't know. It's very hard to say. I don't think I have any more information than anybody. I just think what I did was I just went to work.
Yeah.
But that was, again, I was lucky. Not everybody gets that happened, and I don't think anymore that's even possible the way it occurred.
It's probably a lot harder today than it was back then. Yeah, it's tough today for sure.
Oh God!
Amazing.
I would not want to doing it now, and I don't want anybody who wants to do it to feel they shouldn't. But I don't even know how you go about it now.
Yeah.
Except be very serious about your work, and go do summer stock or go do something where you can be seen.
Right.
And people then start saying, "Oh, wait a minute, this person's really, maybe she should go meet so-and-so." You know what I mean? It's like a process.
Right.
Or you're 20 and you're just ravishingly gorgeous, and people just put you on film.
Yeah.
Which can happen.
Which can happen, absolutely, sure.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I got help. God bless it, my father, for introducing me to Cy Feuer. I don't know whether this would have happened.
Right.
That was a lark.
An amazing career you've had, and you've worked with everybody, so many tremendous stars in Hollywood, so many great shows. Anybody who you haven't worked with over the years that you would say, you look back and say, I wish I would have worked with them. I know Jerry Seinfeld is probably one of them, right?
Yeah. Meryl Streep.
Uh-huh.
Oh boy. And I was friends with, but would have loved to have worked with Bob Redford.
Oh, really?
But he's enormous. Well, we lived with him for a while because Herbie was in Barefoot in the Park.
Right.
And then Bob went out to the coast. Why wouldn't he have? And he was out there in a house up there, and he knew we were coming, so he said, "Come stay with me."
Right.
So we stayed with him while he was shooting the movie.
Uh-huh.
And Bob Redford. Yeah, what a wonderful actor.
Wow.
And just a really, really extraordinary human being. Very caring human being.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of things, that for this country. He
Yes.
doesn't talk about that stuff. But yeah, I mean, there are so many actors you want to work with that you didn't get to, like Laurence Olivier.
There you go.
I mean, you can always think of people you'd want to have worked with.
Of course. Well, Louise, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on the show. It was so great talking with you. You're a legend.
Thank you.
Really
I
are.
appreciate it.
You know,
Thanks for all the good questions, and I hope I sounded civil.
You did. You sounded fantastic.
Quibble civil.
And you're always welcome here on Celebrity Spotlight. Come back anytime, and thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Okay, Louise.
Have a good day. Take good care and be safe.
I will. Take care. It's great talking with you.
Thank you.
Take care. Good night, Louise. Bye-bye now.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Louise, right there, an amazing legend in her time. A great actress. She worked with so many great people, so many great shows. So great speaking with her tonight. Coming up on Celebrity Spotlight, we are actually off, I think, this coming Monday. Of course, it's Memorial Day. I want to wish everybody a great Memorial Day weekend. Go out, make it a great weekend, enjoy it. It's, of course, the unofficial start of summer. It's not too long off right now, right? Summer's almost here. Coming up on Celebrity Spotlight, we're going to do it next Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Elaine Ballas will be here. She's another actress from Hollywood. She'll be here direct from Hollywood. She's worked with the Hollywood Museum. She's tell us all about what's going on out there in Hollywood, and with her own career, she's been on a lot of television shows and movies, and she's always working on stuff. So I'm happy to talk with Elaine. It's going to be her second time on Celebrity Spotlight. Also, the world's leading John Denver tribute artist Ted Vigil is going to be here. He's got a show coming up in Long Island, coming up, I believe, in July. So I'm excited about talking to him. So he'll be on the show, and also the CEO of Hollywood's Game Changer 3R Entertainment. His name is Carrie Calvin. His father was one of the original Shylights. So what a great group. So many great songs. Have you seen her? We'll talk to Carrie Calvin, and he's got a lot going on in Hollywood. He's got a clothesline. He produces music, all types of things. So it'll be interesting to speak with Carrie Calvin. Also, actor Dean Butler from Little House on the Prairie. Of course, everybody knows Little House, and he'll be here. We'll find out all about it. He's got a brand new book coming out. We'll talk to him about his brand new book. And also Sandy Hall, who is a heart and tribute artist. She's going to be on this show, a fantastic singer, great voice. Also, my friend, recording artist Lee Newton, country artist. She is a tremendous talent in Nashville. She's becoming a tremendous star, so I'm excited about having her on the show. She's going to be here for the third time on Celebrity Spotlight. Also, I want to thank so many people that were listening tonight. Producer Cindy always sends me some cool names. George W. Martinez, like the interview. Thank you so much, George. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Beryl is out there, my friend in the mountains of Virginia. Beryl is fantastic, and I know her father's not feeling well. I hope he feels better, and please say hello to him for me. Steve Tesh, of course, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Millie, my mom in Brooklyn. Cindy Lake Ronkonkoma. Producer Cindy, thank you so much for helping us out, as always. Again, everybody have a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. Go out, make it a great one. And don't forget, come back here Thursday night, 7 p.m. Actress Elaine Ballas, direct from Hollywood, will be here. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again next Thursday. Everybody have a fantastic night, and we will speak to you next Thursday with Elaine Ballas.